Before I get started with my remarks, I want to make a special thank you to General Cody for joining us here today. General, I'm so grateful to you for your service to this nation and for being with us here today. As we stand here today, with only one day left in our year, we recognize that while the front pages of our newspapers over the past several months have been about the economic crisis here in the United States of America and throughout the world, we can't forget that there are still men and women serving us in Iraq and Afghanistan and throughout the world who are putting their lives in harm's way so that we can live in this great country. With all the troubles that we face in the world today and here in the country, we have to return back to some of the most basic fundamental obligations that we have. And one of the most basic obligations we have in any society, but certainly here in the United States of America, is to take care of our veterans. We know too well from our experiences after Vietnam of soldiers coming back, arriving back here on U.S. soil, and then just left to try and return on their own back into society. And I can't tell you how many examples I know of individual veterans that are now homeless, or that are suffering from post-traumatic stress disorder, or from some physical injury where they're left to fend on their own. And we try and do what we can here in the county and have focused over the past 7 years to try and help them any way that we can. Well, a few weeks ago, a friend of mine, Fred Wilpon, suggested to me that one of the things we have to do is we have to try and make sure that veterans returning from Iraq and Afghanistan are not only getting the services they need through the government, which they are through great work of men like General Cody, helping them to transition back into society, helping to serve our wounded warriors, wounded both physically with injuries that we can clearly see, but those injuries that we can't see as well, that they take to bed with them every night. But we have to also work as a community to try and put these men and women back to work. Put them back to work in our society, in the private sector, so that they can get a job, so that they can provide for their families and go on to continue to live productive lives. So only a few weeks ago, I started reaching out to some of the men and women that are standing here behind me today to ask for their help. And I can't tell you how overwhelmed I am by the response I have received from the unions here on Long Island and from private sector corporations. Today we are announcing the Warriors to Work program in Nassau County, which we believe is the first of its kind in the nation and will serve as a national model, where our Veteran Services Agency will reach out to the veterans that have returned from Iraq and Afghanistan that are living here in Nassau County, of which there are over 3,000 as we speak today, and let them know that the building trade unions, the other unions, and private companies here on Long Island have already pledged to find employment for over 200 returning veterans. Everyone that I called to ask for their help, or that my staff called to ask for help, committed to help in any way that they could, because they recognize that we can never forget the vet, that our first obligation is to show our gratitude for each of these men and women. I'm joined here today by members of the Nassau County Legislature, and I want to thank them very much for being here today. Judy Jacobs and Dave Denenberg and Roger Corbin and Wayne Wink and Judy Bosworth. But I'm also joined here today by the people that have stood up and have offered to help. One of the first people I spoke to was a fellow named Richie Roberts, who was meeting with me on another matter, and I told him about this idea, and he told me about a program called Helmets to Hard Hats. And we reached out to Jimmy Castellane, the head of the building trade union, and he said, we're on board with this program, we're going to help any way that we can. And we spoke with John Durso from the Long Island Federation of Labor. They said we're going to help any way that we can. And between all our different unions, over 125 jobs have been pledged for our returning veterans. Then we started reaching out to our different employers, and many of them who are represented here today. And I'm going to be asking Mike Dowland from North Shore LIJ Hospital, the largest employer here on Long Island, if he would commit to helping find jobs for veterans. And he immediately said yes. And then many other companies came forward and said that they would also provide positions as well. including Adecco, Airstream Corporation, Bethpage Federal Credit Union, Clever Devices, CVS, Interstate Brands, Johnson & Hoffman, King Cullen, Cozy Shack, the Nassau County Veterans Coliseum, and Cerviali Foods. I'm sure that many other corporations will come forward as a result of this press conference today, and we're going to do everything we can to make sure that anybody who needs a job, who is a veteran in this county, will find a job. Before I go any further, I'd like to bring forward someone who's a great American hero who has served this nation his entire adult life. Most recently as the Vice Chief of Staff of the United States Army, where he stepped down just in August. Over 35 years ago, he graduated from West Point and has had a distinguished career serving this nation. He is known by many as a soldier's general, always looking out for the interests of the men and women that have served this country as United States veterans. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in greeting four-star General, General Richard Cody.
Thank you very much. Thank you. I came all the way up from Washington, D.C. today to Nassau County really to just say thank you on behalf of our veterans, and thank you on behalf of their families. This is a wonderful thing that Tom Suozzi and you all here in Nassau County are doing. You're basically telling these young men and women who don the cloth of our nation at a time of war, saying, you're on the job for us now, and when you come back, we're going to find a job for you. This is a long war that we're engaged in. Never in our history have we asked an all-volunteer force to serve in combat so long for so many. 305 million Americans today live in America free. They live in America where they can have their American dream, and it's being secured by so few. Never in my 36-year career have I ever seen a finer military, an all-volunteer force. These men and women that are going to be coming out of the military and join the ranks of our other veterans who we have stood on your shoulders, they come out with great skills. But they joined the military during a time of war. Some of them re-enlisted during a time of war, serving 12 and now 15-month tours of duty in Iraq and Afghanistan. And they've been on the job for us, and they've fought for us. And what you're doing here in Nassau County is saying, now we're going to fight for you when you take that uniform off and become an American citizen and join the public service. And the type of people you're going to get are people that are ingrained in patriotic values. They have great integrity, they have great discipline, and they have great skill sets. This is a very high-tech military we have today. And these young men and women that choose Nassau County to live in are going to bring to these companies a great skill. But more importantly, they're going to bring great leadership, and they're great Americans. And so I really came here today to thank all of you on behalf of our veterans. This is a great thing you're doing. I hope it catches fire across our nation, because we have no greater thing to do for our veterans to say thank you and give them an opportunity to enjoy the freedoms that they so hard fought for. God bless you all.